Yesterday on the show, Warren Buffett spoke with our own Becky Quick, giving a very candid response when talking about the role corporate boards play in America's Fortune 500 companies.
What happens at a board? I think people sometimes have a mistaken notion of how boards act, but the compensation committee comes in, they've worked for a few hours, maybe a few days, they've had consultants, and they say, we've approved this plan. I've never yet heard at any of the 19 boards I was on anybody say in the meeting they were against it. Now, I've heard a few say it outside of the meeting.
We're going to bring in our panel on this one, as well as Andrew Stoltmann, who's here to react. And Andrew, you follow these types of things in your law office. You listen to what Warren Buffett just said, and you think what?
Well, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, Warren Buffett needs to go back to school and find out what the duties and obligations are of a director. He has a duty to act in the shareholders' best interest. And to the extent, as a board member, he disagrees with something that the board is doing, especially a compensation structure plan, he has a duty to act up. He has a duty to vote against it, and he didn't do it, and that's outrageous.
I just want to put it in context for a moment. They were talking about Coca-Cola. His son Howard is on the board of Coca-Cola, and they were talking about how Warren Buffett does not agree with the 2014 equity plan, so he abstained from that vote. Also want to bring in Carol for a moment here for a thought, because I know you have a lot of experience in dealing with boards.
I've been a public company director. I've advised a lot of boards of directors, and I think there's an inverse relationship between the size of the company and how active their boards are, because I can tell you, for middle market companies and small cap companies and private companies who are looking to come public, this does not happen. People are very vocal about what it is that they think and protecting that fiduciary duty. And if that's the case on the board that Warren Buffett's on, then they need better board members. They need board members that are willing to step up and to vocalize when they do not agree with something, because that is their duty to the shareholders at the end of the day.
You made it sound like the board members just rubber stamp whatever the committees put in front of them, and that certainly is discouraging, because what you'd like to think is that there is a robust discussion about major decisions, whether it be acquisitions, questions about compensation, especially at a time when you have shareholders questioning why a CEO is being paid this much and, you know, what are the incentives, et cetera. So I listened to that and I said, it is discouraging, because it sounds, what he said, what I heard is that there's just rubber stamping going on.
Hey, Sarah, that's the reason. That's the reason why the shareholder activists, the hedge fund managers, guys like Carl Icahn are so important, because those are board members, when they get their board seat, that simply are not a rubber stamp. They actually advocate for certain positions, reduction of executive compensation. And I know these guys get demonized all the time, but that's exactly the reason why we need them.
You don't solve one problem by creating another problem. And I think the issue with the activists in many cases is that they're short-term focused. We need board members who support the long-term vision of the Main Street investor, of the retail investor.
Awarding compensation that executives shouldn't get. I mean, if that's long-term vision, we shouldn't have that.
I'm saying the ones that are on there aren't appropriate. The point is that we need to replace them, not just with activists that are focusing on the short term, with new people who are willing to stand up and say, this doesn't sound right to me, and let's come up with some benchmarks. The results have been pretty darn good, though. The results have been pretty darn good for the shareholder activists, the hedge fund managers that have been on these boards. What about for the long-term value of the shareholders?
You know, to Carol's point, I was speaking to an author who studies and analyzes these corporate boards, and he says if a board member is not pushing back to a CEO, then he's basically not, he or she is basically not doing his job. That person is expected to challenge the management, ask thought-provoking questions, and if the person's not doing that, they're not doing their job.
What we don't want are lifeless eunuchs on these boards. We need people that are advocates, that are pushing the envelope and making these executives earn their outrageous bonuses and fortunes.
Do you have an example, Andrew, of a good one where this is actually working?
Look at Carl Icahn's track record.
You just like the activists on the board.
when him or his reps go on a board, good things tend to happen. I know people
so you
say,
want an activist investor on every board in corporate America?
No, but certainly on company. I'll tell you something. Coca-Cola needs one, because one of the richest men in the world isn't doing his job. He deserves an F- as a board member.
And David Winters, Andrew, we're going to get a final thought from you in a moment, but David Winters, who raised this issue, is a minor shareholder in Coca-Cola, has put out a statement today after Buffett saying they need to either withdraw this plan or scale it back and come back to it. Final word.
Yeah, no question. Buffett and his son really left Mr. Winters out to dry. He was advocating for the change. He didn't want this executive compensation plan to go into effect, and he was really left out to dry, and it's unfortunate.
All right, Andrew, thanks for joining us with your opinions in support of activist investors. It's a great discussion on boards.